So good afternoon all. So let us start the session. The last class we discussing about built-in functions. In today's class we are going to discuss about the remaining built-in functions in Python. So today agenda is we are going to discuss about some built-in functions. So after that we discuss about anonymous functions. The first function map. The map function returns a list after applying a function to each item of iterable. Iterable is nothing but, so this is maybe a list, tuple, string, or any iterable data type. What is the purpose of the map function? The map function applying a function, applying a function to each item of iterable. So what it means? So for example, so there is a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I want to find square of all these numbers. Square of all these numbers. Then I define a function square here. If you observe that, so this is the square function. Now I want to apply this function square on a list. On a list. How? By using map function. The map in brackets you are going to specify the function and any iterable data type. Here I am giving the list. Okay. So now what happened? So this is the function square applied on first element, so after that second element, third element, and so on. Okay. So this is the L equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The map square comma L. What's the square here? The square is a function. The square is a function. You're going to apply this function on each item in this list. Okay. So at end of this function map, it returns a list. It returns a list here. So that is stored in R. If you print list of R, then what is the output? It prints square of all these numbers 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. Okay. What is the purpose of the map function? Map function we are going to use to apply a function on each item of the iterable data type. Okay. So next one, complex function. Complex. So this function converts a number into complex number. I hope last class we discussed about int or float. Float function. What is the purpose of the float function? The float function is used to convert a number into float number. So for example, 10.10, so float of 10, it returns 10.0 as a output. Okay, similarly, the convert a number into complex number. If you want to convert a number into complex number, then we are going to use this, the complex function. So for example, what's the complex function? So for example, complex function 5 plus ig or 5 plus j6. Okay, this is the complex number. So for this, you are going to give two arguments. So print complex 5 comma 6. And similarly, if you give only one argument, then so 5 plus so j 0. Okay, that means the second number is 0. The dictionary. The dictionary function we are going to use to create a dictionary. So if I give the dict, then an empty dictionary will be created. If I give arguments a equals to 10, b equals to 20. I hope you all know that the dictionary is the combination of keys and values. Key and value. Key and value. Here it specifies that a equals to 10, b equals to 20. What it means? A is the key value and 10 is the value for this key A. Similarly, Second item, key is B and the value is 20. Okay. The map function is used to apply the function on each item in iterable data type. So complex number converts a number into complex number, and dictionary function is used to create a dictionary. Now we execute these functions first. What is the first function? Map function. What is the purpose of the map function? You are going to apply, for example, this is the map. The map, for this map, we are going to give one function. For example, I define a function square and L. What it means? So this L is a data type, this square is a function. Now I apply this square function on each item in this L. Okay, so first we define function square. So how we define a function? Def square. So after that, N return N into N here. Okay. And the map of before that we define the L equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I am taking one list L or equals to map of square comma L. So after that I am going to print the list of R. List of okay. We observe that output L equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The square function returns the square of any number. Now I apply this square on each item in this L, and this map function returns a list that is stored in R. Okay, and we use this map function in many programs. So for example, I want to read the data like this. So for example, 24, 56, 78 line. That means in the same line, I'm going to give the input and I store all these numbers in a list. Okay, what we are doing here, so here, so this is the iterables. That means this is the input. So you are going to apply a function. For example, whatever you are going to read, that is in the form of string. So I need to apply the int function. So int function. Now similar to this instruction square is a function name. So L is the iterable data type. Similarly here, so these are the iterable data types, that means the different items, and you are going to apply this int function. So how we can write that? So for example, I am writing that L equals to map of. So map of. So the function I am going to apply int. I'm going to read the input dot split. Now, whatever you are going to read from the keyboard, that is stored in L, and all these are list data types. All these are list data types. So L equals to list of. What is the list means? You are converting the output of this map function. It returns a list that is assigned to L. So what is the input dot split? Input dot split is nothing but these are the data elements you are reading from the keyboard. So now on each data item, you are going to apply a function int. So first it takes the 24 and apply the integer function. Now 24 is changed as a integer and stored in this L. Okay, we execute this. We use this instruction in many programs. When you want to read the data in a single line, like this 24 space 56 space 78, then you are going to use this map function. So print L. Like you like this 24, 56, 78. If you observe that, so all these are stored in a list. Okay. So for example, in some programming uh, problems, they give like this 24 comma 56 comma 78. Now in this, you are going to split the data when the comma is encountered. So in the place of split, you are going to write comma. Okay, comma. Now if we execute this, so 24 comma 56 comma 78. If I press enter, whenever the comma is encountered, that is split. Okay. Remember this instruction? We use this instruction in many programs. The map of the int comma input dot split. If you are not specifying anything, means the default split is space here. The default split is space. Okay. So this is about map function. The next one, complex. So for example, a print complex of 5 comma 6. Similarly, print complex of 5. Okay, if we execute this, it returns like this. So 5 plus 6j. So 5 plus 0j. So why? For second function, complex, we give only one argument. So the second argument is 0. So it is 5 plus 0j. Okay. So this is about complex function. So next function is the dictionary. So D equals to dictionary. Okay, if I print D, now it is a empty dictionary. If you observe that it is a empty dictionary. Now, if I give the arguments like this, the dictionary of the A equals to 10, comma B equals to 20, comma C equals to 30. If I execute now, the A, B, C are the key values, 10, 20, 30 are the values. These are the keys, these are the values. Okay, so what is the purpose of the dictionary function? This function we are going to use to create a dictionary. Okay, the next function, the min function. The min function we are going to use to find the minimum number in a list. The min function returns minimum number, max function returns maximum number. So this is the list L equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some min of L, it returns 1. Some max of L, it returns 5. Set function. So set function we are going to use to create a set. S equals to CRR, COE, the print set of S. The set of S. Now everyone please give the response in the chat box. What is the output of these two instructions? S equals to CRR, COE, this is the string. Now I convert this string as a set of S. Now what is the output? What is the output for this instruction? If I convert the string into S, then what it returns? If it is list of yes, then what is the output? C comma R comma R comma C comma O comma E. If it is a set, then what is the expected output? C R O. Yes, correct. Okay, C R O E only. So maybe the order is different. C R O E. Okay, so why? Set does not allow duplications. Set does not allow duplications. Okay, so when you convert any string or any data type into set, the duplications are not allowed. So this CROE is assigned to S here. Assigned to set here. Okay. So next one, hexa. Hexa means, so this hexa function returns hexadecimal number. For example, x equals to 10. What is the hexadecimal decimal representation of 10? That is capital A. If I give 11, what is the hexadecimal representation? B. Okay. Now we execute these functions. We are going to take one list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I print in of L, similarly print max of A. So which function we are going to use to find the minimum number in the list. Similarly, the max we are going to use to print max number in the list. So next function, set function. I'm taking a string s equals to crr coe print set of yes. Maybe the order is different, but the duplications are not allowed into set here. The next function, hexadecimal. I'm taking a value x equals to 10, print hexa number of x. Okay. So last class we discussed about binary number. So binary number. So how we convert a number into binary number by using bin of x. Now the 10 is represented like this 0b 1010. The 9 is representing as 0b 1001. Okay. So binary number representing with 0b. Similarly, the hexadecimal number. Similarly, the hexadecimal numbers representing with 0x. So representing with 0x. Here we are going to print binary also. Print bin of x. Similarly, there is a function octal. Okay. So this is the 0x. That means hexadecimal number. So this is 0b. That means binary number. So 0 So 0 indicates it is octal number. Okay. So this is the 10 representation of hexadecimal. So it is A. So similarly, binary value is 1010. In octal, so this is the 10 representation 1, 2. Okay. The next function, ID. So ID function returns ID of an object. That means whenever you create a variable a equals to 10 in memory, so for this variable a, it allocates some memory ID. For example, this is the 10. So for this there is a memory ID here 10101. Now if I print ID of a, then it print this number. Okay. The next function, sorted. So returns sorted order of string. The sorted function we are going to use sort a string. It returns a sorted order of string. So this is the example crr coe. If I print sorted of yes, then it prints c c e o r r. So sorted order of this string yes. Input function. So this is also very important function. We use almost in all programs this input function. So this input function we are going to use to read the value from the keyboard. So whenever you want to read the value from the keyboard in Python, you are going to use this input function. So s equals to input. That means whatever you are going to read, that is assigned to a variable s. Okay. So whatever you are going to read from the keyboard, either it is a number or character or a string, whatever it is, all are in string format. All are in string format. So, for example, I want to read a number 10 from keyboard. This 10 is also in string format. So, I convert this string as a integer. So, I use int of input. Int of input. Now, whatever you are reading from the keyboard, so that will be converted as a integer. Okay. So, octal function. This function returns octal number. So, for example, x equals to 10, print octal of x, then it returns the 0, 0, 1, 2. So that means this 1, 2 is the octal representation of number 10. It's a print function. So I hope you all know this print function also. So print the given object onto the screen. So print s. So print sorted s. Print id of a. So print octal of x. So all these are the print statements. Okay. So next, power. So this power function returns the power value. So I want to find so 2 power 10. 2 power 10. Then I'm going to use this power function power of 2 comma 10. 2 comma 10. Okay. So we execute these functions. I define a variable, for example, a equals to 1, 2, 3. Now I want to know the ID of this a. Okay. Now, so this is the idea of A. Here, you remember one thing. So, for example, for B equals to 1, 2, 3, I assign so B equals to 1, 2, 3. Now, everyone, please give the response in the chat box. So, what is the idea of B? So, for example, the idea of A is 100. Now, what is the idea of B? It is 100 or any other number? Yes, it is 100 only. Any other number, it is wrong. Okay. If I'm here, I am assigning same value to the variable A and B. So for example, this is the memory. Let us assume this is the memory. In this memory, there is a memory location 100. Here A equals to 123. So 123 is stored in this place. Now, so this A indicating this 100. Okay, now again if I assign B equals to 123, now the Python interpreter can check that the 123 is already in the memory. Yes, 123 is already in the memory. So the same ID is assigned to B also. The same ID is assigned to B also. For example, if I write the C equals to here, if I write C equals to 1 to 4, the print ID of C. Now we get different ID value. Now we execute this program. Then you observe that the first two are the same. The ID of A and ID of B, so both are same. But coming to ID of C, it is different. Why? The C equals to 1 to 4. So 1 to 4 is not available in the memory, so it is created. Okay, so 1 to 4. So for this we got another ID. So 632. Okay. The next function, sorted. Sorted. So I'm taking a string s equals to crr coe print sorted of yes. Sorted of yes. So this is the sorted list of yes crr coe. Okay. So C C E O R R. The next function input. I hope you all learn the input function. So n equals to input. Print n. Enter 10. So 10 is output. So but it is in string form. So you are going to use int of function. Now whatever you are going to give the input, that will be converted as a integer. We give 10. It's 10. Okay, now in previous example 10 is string. Now the 10 is integer. The next function octal. Already we discussed about this octal function. Similarly, print function. It's a power. So for example, print power of 2 comma 10. 2 comma 10. So 2 power 10. 1024. 2 power 10 is 1024. Next function, the round function. So round function returns round of the digit. The round of the digits. The print round 1.5. So now it rounds this 1.5 and returns the answer. For example, 1.5 means it returns 2. Execute the round. The print round of 1.5. Print round of 1.4. Print round of 1.9. Yes. 1.5 means it rounds to nearest integer. So 1.5 means so 2 is nearest, so it is 2. For 1.4, the nearest integer is 1, so it is round to 1. For 1.9, the nearest integer is 2, so it is round to 2. So next function, integer. The int function we are going to use to convert a number into integer. Here I read the value. For example, 10. 10 it is in the form of string, so I convert this as a integer by using int function. Tuple function. Tuple function we are going to use to create tuple. Okay, so for example, if I write like this, so t equals to tuple, then an empty tuple is created. Now here I'm taking the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I convert this list as a tuple. So by using this tuple function. The next function, zip function. So this is also very important function. In many programs, we are going to use this zip function. So zip function returns a zip object which maps of similar index of multiple containers. Similar index of multiple containers. What it means here, n comma l here. N equals to 1, 2, 3. L equals to 1, 2, 3. So these are the strings here. So these are the strings. N equals to 1, 2, 3. Now zip n comma l. So that means 1. So these two will be zip. Similarly, 2, 2 will be zip. So 3, 3 will be zip. So we execute these functions. So int function, I hope you all are know. See tuple function. So t equals to tuple. Print t. So this is the empty tuple. Empty tuple. I take one list, L equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I convert this tuple as a now I convert this list as a tuple by using tuple function. T equals to tuple of L. That's it. Now the list elements are converted as a tuple. Okay. Next one, zip function. I take two lists, for example, L1 and L2. In L1, I store 1, comma 2, comma 3. In L2, I store 1, 2, 3. Now I assign these values by using zip function. So for example, so L equals to stop zip of L1, comma L2. Okay, if you observe that this is the list L1, 1, 2, 3, L2 equals to 1, 2, 3. L equals to list of the zip of L1, comma L2. Now what is the L1? 1 and the element in the L2. So that will be the zip and this is the tuple here. Okay. So you all are remember that these pair brackets. So this is the list. Small brackets. So these are the tuples. This is tuple. Flower bracket. Set. Flower bracket with keys and values. For example, keys and values. So this we are called as a dictionary. So these data types we are going to use in many programs. Remember this. So list, tuple, set, and dictionary. Square brackets, list. Small brackets, tuple. Flower brackets, set. So flower brackets with keys and values. Then it is dictionary. Okay. Now zip function. So this is the zip 1, comma 1. That means this is the list. In this, all these are the tuples. 1, comma 1. So 2, comma 2 and 3, comma 3 here. What is the purpose of zip function? Zip function returns a zip object which maps of similar index of multiple containers. That means, so this is the 0th index, first index, second index. So coming to here, 0, 1, 2 indexes. Now, the zip function can combine these indexes 0, 0, 0 in first list and 0 index in second list. Okay. So this is about different built-in functions in Python. We see so another function that is anonymous function. So what is anonymous function? In Python, a anonymous function is a function that is defined without a name. Normally, how we define a function? Like this, def space function name. You can define the function name and you write the instructions like this. But what is anonymous function? Anonymous function in Python that is defined without a name. There is no, you are not giving any name to this function. So that we are called as a anonymous function. Anonymous functions are used or defined using the lambda keyword. So using the lambda keyword. The lambda function can have any number of arguments, but only one expression. Okay, you're going to use this lambda function with any number of arguments, but only you're going to use only, but using but only one expression. The expression is evaluated and returned. So, for example, here, so this is the lambda function. The lambda, so these are the arguments here. So these are the arguments. Colon, so this is the expression. You can give more than one argument, but you give only one expression. This expression is evaluated. So for example, this expression will be evaluated and return some value that is assigned to here. Okay, whenever you are going to use the lambda function, so this lambda function will return some value. Okay, so based on the expression. So that is assigned to this variable. Here, if you observe that square equals to, so how we define a square function? In our previous example, we define a square function like this. So def square, and here we write return. The square have some argument, return n into n like this. Okay, I call square function like this, square of 5. Square of 5. Now, here I am using a variable a equals to. Now, whatever the value is written, so that is stored in this variable a. Here, we define a function with the name square. Instead of that, here a, I like this, I write like this, a equals to lambda, the value n, colon n square, n square. If I call, so print a of 5, so print a of 5, then it returns the square of that number. Okay. Here we are giving only one argument. So only one argument. If I have more than one argument, also you can give any number of arguments, but the expression is only one expression. So here the second one is, so lambda x comma y, x, if x greater than y, else y. That means if x greater than y, then so this lambda function return x to this bit. If it is else, then y is written to this bit. Okay. Execute these two programs. What is anonymous function? Anonymous function is nothing but you are defining a function without a name. Here I'm defining a function lambda. Okay. So after that, we are going to give the arguments. For example, only one argument. For that, the expression is square, x square. I'm going to return. That's it. After that, I print square of 5. Square of 5. Now it returns 25. Now it returns 25. Similarly, the two arguments, there is more than one argument, then lambda. So how many arguments? Two arguments, x comma y. So x, if x greater than y, else y. Print big of, so 5 comma 6. It returns 6 as output. So I give 15 comma 6. 15 comma 6. So it returns 15 as output. Okay. So this is about anonymous function. Anonymous function is nothing but the lambda function. In Python, anonymous function is a function that is defined without a name. That is defined without a name. So here we define the anonymous function as a lambda. So lambda, so x colon x square. So that means these are the arguments, and so this is the expression. Okay. So after the evaluation of this expression, it returns some value that is stored in this variable. So this is about anonymous function. Okay. So this is about today class. Okay, thank you all. So meet in tomorrow class. Thank you.